Welcome. What is up? Welcome to the Mixer. I am your host, RC. I am joined by my co-host here, Jeff. How you doing, buddy?
What is up? I'm doing great.
Awesome.
What is it?
Awesome. Glad to hear. First things first. Like us. Like our YouTube channel. Follow us. Subscribe on iTunes. On Spotify. We have yet to be removed. We have not been removed. All our social channels are still up. So it is at FCY Mixer on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. It is the Mixer channel on YouTube. Again, this is the Mixer podcast. We are on iTunes and Spotify. Our content has not been pulled down. It is still there. It is still there. Speaking of our content, we have a survey. It's a Survey Monkey. Looking for input on season 2. We will be wrapping up season 1 probably around NFL draft time. Since the Shield controls all things, it will probably demark our calendar. I think the official league's end is in March sometime, so maybe we'll follow suit then. But yeah, looking to improve the show here. If you can answer the questions that survey, it's about 10 questions long. It is 10 questions long. We would like your honest feedback. Let us know how we can improve it. Should be getting some upgrades here pretty soon. Should be able to make little clips. Anywho, so
Indiana. Boba.
Give that a check. Jeff is on dog duty at the moment, so disregard him. But yeah, check out the survey. Give us our feedback, and yeah, we'll roll it out. We'll make this thing better. We'll give you the content you want, hopefully. The link is in our show notes, so if you are listening on your phone or something, just check the show notes. Should have a link that can take you right to it. There's a nice mobile website for SurveyMonkey. And yeah, again, it's pretty quick. And I will post it to our social channels as well. So thank you for that. Thank you for listening. We appreciate all of you. We love you. We love you guys. So that is the housekeeping in order. As always, we start the show with some tilts. I got some tilts. Speaking of enhancing our content, last episode, while listening back, I was not happy with the audio quality. I'm not sure what exactly was the holdup there. I used Skype to record our content, and haven't had too many problems with it. But there was some. The sound just kept cutting out in a few spots, especially at the start of the episode. It cleaned up about 15-20 minutes in, but if you had to listen to that, I apologize. Again, hopefully we'll be upgrading by our, I mean my equipment here pretty soon, although Bitcoin is down, so maybe not as soon as I'd like, but anywho. So that was no fun. Before I get into my next tilt, Jeff, do you have any tilts?
I do have a tilt. And it's not just these dogs that are trying to run away. But so I was doing some math. I was talking to a friend the other day, and they completely did not understand like 2-point conversions in the NFL, right?
Okay.
Not that they didn't understand, but like they didn't understand like really when to go for it or when not to go for it.
Okay.
So I'm not going to break down like every situation, but I'm just going to give some rough numbers, right? We'll use league averages, but just to establish, the league average for making an extra point is 94%. Okay. So like something that we take for granted happens 94% of the time, right? Making a 2-point conversion happens roughly 49.5%. Okay.
Okay.
So If we
I
do
think I see where this is going.
so if we do a little bit of math, right? So if we multiply that 49% times 2, because a 2-point conversion is worth 2, we
Uh-huh.
get an expected value of any 2-point conversion to be 0.98 points, compared to an expected value of an extra point to be 0.94 points. Okay.
Yeah.
So where I'm going with this is, I've talked about this before, and I've talked about this with a lot of friends, is I don't think football teams actually play to win the game. Football teams play to tie the game and hope they're ahead at the end. And I say that because you never see the team with less points go for 2 unless it's the end of the game, right?
Yeah.
Or unless kind of thing. Basically, unless they have to. And so I did a little math this morning. And
Math is low key.
It is. But if we use the league average, right, of 43 touchdowns, okay, over a season, that was the average this year, is each team averaged about 43, with the Packers leading the way at 63, okay? The difference would have been about 2 points if you went for 2 every time versus just kicking a field goal taking the extra point every time, okay? So 2 points doesn't sound like a lot, and it really isn't a lot. But you think about some of these games that end up and you're down by a point at the end of the game, right? Or, they end up as a tie in overtime, right? Wouldn't you take one of those 2 points in that situation?
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to show is that even if we assume every extra point is good, you only have to get to just above 50% to make it justified, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you got to, like, let's say you were a team and you got to 55%, okay, of if you made your 2-point conversions 55% of the time, an average team would score 5 more points a game if they just went for 2 every time but converted 55% of the time, compared to making every extra point. That's almost an extra touchdown a game's worth of, or that's almost an extra touchdown a season, right? So it's worth like 0.3 of a point a game.
Fuck yeah. Science.
Right?
Science.
It's not like, and this is more like, people are probably used to numbers like this in baseball, where smaller things that mean more, right, or mean smaller amounts like this can matter more over 162 games versus 16 games.
Right.
But when you think about it, like, if you're the Packers, right, if the Packers scored 55% of their 2-point conversions, right, and they scored 64 touchdowns this year, that's an extra touchdown, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's a full-on extra touchdown. If they even get up to 60%, right, that's an extra 2 touchdowns in over the season, right? Like, that's huge in the long run. And I just want football teams to start trying to win football games.
I like your thinking. I hadn't had those numbers laid out for me like that, so thank you for doing that. So your tilt is NFL teams playing for ties.
Yeah.
Instead of going for the plus EV plays of going for 2 in every situation. I like it.
And
I like it. More points. Nobody needs kickers anyway.
I wouldn't say completely get rid of kickers, but I would say, especially if you're a worse team and you're trying to actually win a game against a better team, you should be playing to maximize your point total, right? And not just taking the minimum amount of points allowed.
Should teams have designated goal line quarterbacks like Taysom Hill and Tim Tebow? Should they add a 54th roster spot just for a special teamer jump pass quarterback? Did you see he did a jump pass?
I did see that. I don't think you have to do that, but I definitely think teams should focus more on it.
Yeah. I like it. Let's do it. Let's put that in Warren Sharp's tickler, and hopefully we could have a forward-thinking NFL head coach that'll pull those moves. Just don't let Anthony Lynn hear you because he'll probably take you to church preaching like that, sir.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got some more tilts, just minor ones. So last night I went for a sprint session and had another setback in Rob versus time. I was sprinting and at the park across the street, and somehow I tweaked my triceps. I mean, things that I would have thought were impossible are happening. To suffer some sort of arm injury while running. Yeah, I mean the struggle is real. Time is definitely taking its toll. I don't know how people like Tom Brady and LeBron do it.
I just
Yeah.
because of this setback in Rob versus time, I need a video of some sorts of you running because I want to know how you hurt your tricep while running. Like I feel like your running form is significantly wrong at this point.
I think my arm was just a little tense. I was going for the sprinter like and I think it was just a little tight. I didn't really stretch out the arm before running. I didn't loosen up. I didn't do that like Lolo Jones like jumping around and like shaking it out. So yeah, I think it was just a little tight and maybe a little dehydrated. And yeah, just tightened up. It actually feels better now, but anywho, just mad respect to anybody. I mean, you're still young, Jeff, so you haven't quite had this problem, but but Tom Brady out there, 43. I mean, it's no wonder Giselle stuck around with him after he had a child with another woman. It's the genes. Why would you not want them in your family? How can you blame somebody like that?
Exactly.
Second or third for the brand tilt is my wife is becoming a 24/7 news consumer, which I mean is fine. But watching the news that often is just not good for your health. Given the state of things right now, we'll keep it PC. It's understandable, but anywho, so I've been watching a lot of news, and that's been interesting.
I mean, I can't hate on that too much because like I am a very big consumer of news, really any kind of news at this point. So like I don't hate too much, but I am personally trying to get more and more away. Like I do have an Instagram. I don't use it ever. I'm hardly ever on Facebook. I actually deleted Messenger from my phone the other day. Not because of you guys, but like,
what?
I mean, I have it on my computer. I'm on it. I just don't want to be on it like all night kind of thing. So it's like, just get rid of it. I'm on it during the day when I'm on my computer.
This has nothing to do with you not making the playoffs and having to converse with the group chat and being reminded regularly of how you missed the playoffs for the first time. Nothing to do. Just completely coincidental that you removed it from your phone the first year you've missed the playoffs.
I mean, it's not because I have removed it before. I just don't usually tell you guys.
Okay.
But I'm telling you now.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, do what you got to do. Especially, I mean, now that I have a family. Well, I mean, I've always had a family, but you know what I mean. Got the little girl. What works for me is just leave my phone in another room. Little tip out there. That's what I've been doing. When I'm off work, I just go plug my phone into the bathroom, turn the ringer on, and I just leave it there until the baby's going to sleep, and then I bust it out. Not always, but it's just something I'm trying to do to, get more of that quality time with the fam bam. So, anywho, one more. Stay informed. I'm not really, watching the news and staying informed as long as you're not getting radicalized. Probably thing better to be informed and make wise decisions, either I don't know, in your personal life, financially, how you vote. best to stay informed. But yeah, just be
right.
careful. Just be careful on the news you
I,
consume on a 24/7
I,
basis.
I do have to say this about what you just said. Like, I'm a huge conspiracy theory fan. Like, I'm here to listen to all of them.
You're gonna get
And
us
I do
banned,
love
Jeff. Don't
I do love
iTunes, Amazon. Don't take our content down, please.
I do love the conspiracy thought process of question everything, right? It's very science based, right? But when you start questioning scientists, but you're not questioning your friends who are telling you stupid shit that directly contradicts the scientists, that's when you have a problem. And you need to be able to check yourself on that.
Dude, Anthony Lynn is just, I mean, you're just blowing his mind if he's listening right now. First you're telling him to go for two in every situation, and now you're saying not to believe your friends who are questioning science on Facebook. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you, man. It has been a year. We're still chugging along. This is 2020 part 2, it would seem. Everybody just stay safe. And yeah, I mean, do your best to stay informed as well. I was gonna gripe about how I won pick'ems and you guys aren't giving me props.
I want to hear this
for my fourth.
I want to hear this.
Okay,
Because
so
I think there are valid arguments on both sides of this.
So background for those. I mean, we're gonna self-indulge here a little bit, so just which I mean is most of the show anyway, but just some content every year alongside of our fantasy football league, our main league. We have a pick'ems contest. At first it kind of started as just just like a side thing just for bragging rights mainly, and now it's involved. It's more involved. It plays into our draft position. So I won't go into the full details, but winning it means you have a significant advantage to being able to pick where you draft in the next year's fantasy draft. And I do historically well. I think I won the first. I think I went back to back the first 2, then I lost one, then won again, and by lost I mean I finished like runner up. Anywho, I think I've won 4 out of 6 years that we've done it. And the defense I usually get written off because people forget to submit their picks. And so, typically, that is the defense on a per week basis. My points are not the best, but I just grind out and ended up at the top at the end of the season. Here, counterpoint. Go, Jeff.
No. I will defend you on this. Like I know Matt said like he was higher per week than you or whatever, right? But you're still picking like 2/3 of the games correct most weeks, right?
Yeah.
I think your season score was like 63% or something like that. Like you're not doing bad. Okay. So it's not like you're just out here winning because you're filling it out.
Right.
I think my argument against pick'ems at this point would be 90% of our league doesn't participate.
Yeah. Do you know why that is though? I mean, part of it.
I know my reasoning. I'm one of those people who did beat you one year and won pick'em.
Yes. Congrats.
So I know my reasoning for not doing it is I don't want to spend the time on it. And I also understand that like in most years I have an advantage when we go into our drafts. So I've gotten to the point where I don't really care where I draft.
Yeah.
So the time isn't worth it to me.
Yeah.
I don't know why everyone else doesn't do it.
Yeah, well, I think it's the same thing, but I think part of the reason why is because they because at first everybody participated, everybody submitted it every week, and it was a big deal if they didn't submit it. And when that was happening, I was still on top. So I think it's just gotten to it's like being in the AFC East with the Patriots. Like, what's the point? What's the point of trying? Just wait till Tom Brady moves out of the division, and then I'll give it a shot. So I'm just saying, like, in and the guy who had the highest per game or per week average this season. I'm just saying my consistency played into it failing to be a priority. So I'm just saying the dynasty of my Pick'ems run is now just building momentum, and it's just becoming a deterrent for the other competitors. And I'm here to brag about it. I'm here to get into everybody's head, and yeah, keep trying. Better luck next year. I did the double. I have 3 Infinity Stones. So yeah, keep up and try to keep me entertained. Anywho, I just had to get that out there. Don't be throwing shade when you don't win. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
all
I
right.
mean, Matt was the one throwing shade. I
Well,
was
yeah.
actually like supporting you there a little bit, but
No, I know. It's just I've heard it from multiple people every a few years when I win. It's just
But
saying,
yeah,
like, credit where it's due. Tip your cap, move on, grind harder next year. It's not a
yeah,
slight performance. Just
you're the David Eckstein of Pick'ems.
Hey man,
Right?
Eckstein
Like
is
you
awesome.
put in the effort, you grind it out, and you've maximized your ability, right? There's some other people that might have a higher
Potential.
pick percentage, but they don't show up very often.
Yeah. It's like Amari Cooper versus Cooper Kupp. Like Amari Cooper has all the skills and physical build and talent, but he's not consistent, and Cooper Kupp is definitely more consistent on a game basis when he's not hurt. Anywho, let's move on. Let's get into the hashtag content. We got a good amount to get through here. First and foremost, we're going to be reviewing the NFL division wildcard round, and previewing the divisional round. So we had the super wildcard weekend. I mean, number one, it was awesome. A lot of people were saying it was too much football, but I mean, get out of here with that noise. We had 6 island games, 3 games on Saturday, chased by 3 games on Sunday. Really good stuff. One of the best games was the 10 a.m. game on Saturday. The Bills versus the Colts. The Bills controlled the game and ended up winning 27-24. Buffalo and the Bills Mafia get their first playoff win since the mid-90s. Josh Allen looked awesome. Future head coach of the Chargers, Brian DeBall. His offense has been fun to watch this year. It was nice seeing Phillip out there. He brought the Colts back, made it close, but it wasn't enough. Jeff, what are your thoughts on the Colts and Bills game? The Bills move on.
I mean, I thought the right team moved on. I think the Colts were very good as well, but I do think the Bills are a little bit better. And it was a fun game to watch. Josh Allen has, really impressed this year. That's all I really got for that one.
The addition of Stephon Diggs making a huge contribution to how the team has done this year. Of course, they won the AFC West for the AFC East for the first time in a long time. Josh Allen was 26-35, 324 yards and 2 touchdowns. Also 11 carries for 54 yards and a touchdown. Diggs had 6 receptions, 128 yards and a touchdown. So, I mean, really it's Josh Allen and it's Diggs, and good luck stopping it because they have been a machine. They have been a machine. That combo has been rolling. I'm looking forward to seeing how they do in the next round. Yeah. Moving on. This is a divisional matchup, which if Jeff were the commissioner, we would not have. The Rams took on the Seahawks. The Rams started their backup, Jared Goff, of course, broke his thumb. So John Wolford got the start in the game, but got hurt himself pretty early on. Jared Goff came in, was serviceable, but the Rams really got this one done on the ground. Cam Akers had 28 carries, 130 yards, and a touchdown. They controlled the time of possession. They were up 20-10 at halftime. And the Seahawks just, they struggled against the Rams defense. Aaron Donald ended up getting hurt. So we'll see how what his status is for this week. But the story here is how the Seahawks kind of just fell off. They had a great start to the season, and then Russ made some costly turnovers. It seems like once they lost that game to the Cardinals, I think it was the middle of the season, but it might have been just before the middle of the season. I feel like it was like week 6 or week 7. I remember covering it here. Russell Wilson made 2 mistakes. I think one in the fourth quarter and then one in overtime that kind of cost him the game. Apparently, Pete Carroll after that wanted to limit the mistakes. Russ was not cooking as often. And, evident here. He was only, he was 11 of 27 for 174 yards. I don't know if you have thoughts, but, how much of that do you think is due to the Rams having a great defense with, Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald, and how much of it is just a continuance of the Seahawks struggle?
Well, I think it's definitely a combination, right? I think the Rams defense is impressive. You have arguably the best defensive player in the league with Aaron Donald on the D-line, who just wreaks havoc. And then you have arguably the best corner in the league in Jalen Ramsey, right? And we saw, DK was balling earlier in the year. And he had a great year overall. But I think his flaws are really exposed against a corner like Ramsey, where, Jalen's not afraid of him. And so DK's lack of route running makes him very predictable. So I think Jalen can just kind of hang out with him. And he's not, DK's bigger than any corner he's going to face, but Jalen's a big dude for a corner, right?
Yeah.
He's not backing down there. And I think that hurts, right? Because Lockett is best as probably a 1B. I wouldn't say he's has to be a number 2, because he led their offense at times this year.
Yeah.
But he's a guy that shouldn't be the number 1 threat kind of thing. And when he is, I think it's hard, right?
Yeah.
But I also think too that the Seahawks just have issues, right? Earlier in the year, they started the year 6-1 and were just throwing the ball on everyone. And Russ had a bad game or two, and they just completely lost faith in that process and just kind of fell apart down the stretch, right? More and more we're seeing that the better teams are throwing the ball more. And the Seahawks started the year like that, and it looked like a revelation, and then completely changed their minds and were like, oh, no, we can't do this because Russ had a bad game, right?
Yeah.
Who cares, But, yeah, I think if I were the Seahawks, I would look at bringing in a different offensive coordinator, someone who's more pass-friendly, not going to get spooked as much by a turnover or two, if that makes sense. Obviously we don't want to turn the ball over like Jameis did last year, but you can still have a great offense with 10 to 15 interceptions. It's not the worst thing in the world. Not every quarterback is Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers or Brady, where they're only throwing 5 or 6, right?
Yeah. And Russell Wilson, when he was cooking, he was getting those splash plays, those big throws to Lockett, big throws to DK down the field. Russ, I think he had a very high ADOT at the start of the season, so he was pushing the ball down the field and it was working. But those are high variance plays, and if you look at their the core of their offense. They don't really have that guy over the middle. DK is kind of I guess he can be a possession receiver, but he's more of, stretches out his legs, get downfield, go up and get the ball, lock it, same thing. They don't really have that interior receiver. They don't have, your boy Will Disley, their tight end. His name came up for that joke and that joke only the whole season. And they don't really have a pass catching back. They have Carlos Hyde, who's okay, but in this game, they had one running back reception to Chris Carson for 5 yards, and that's it. So there's room for improvement with the Seahawks offense. They need to. I mean, Russ has the skills. Obviously, they just need to get a system, and they need to get players so it's balanced. Because it's just not. They have one of the best quarterbacks and one of the best wide receivers, and they managed 174 yards passing and about 100 yards on the ground. So you have to be better. You have to be better if you're going to make runs in the playoffs. So that was the afternoon game. We had the nightcap on Saturday. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers took on the Washington football team, the Alex Smith-less Washington football team. The Bucs won 31-23, but the the breakout of the game and the main focus of the game was Taylor Heinicke stepping in and going for over 300 yards. He had a rushing touchdown on an impressive run where he dove for the pylon, knocked it down. He may or may not have problematic social media posts that I heard about. But the football team seemed to get behind him. It was a valiant effort for how depleted they were. Antonio Gibson was dinged up. Terry McLaurin was dinged up. Alex Smith's leg was not functioning. The reason why he was out was his leg wasn't functioning properly. It wasn't like I guess like an injury. It wasn't. I don't exactly know what that means, but I assume it's related to a surgery. But that's how it was reported. The ageless wonder, 43-year-old Tom Brady moves on. What are your thoughts on this one, Jeff?
Yeah, you kind of touched it. Like, Tampa Bay wins, but Heinicke was kind of the story of the day. I think Brady was good. He wasn't great, although his stat line looked solid: 380 yards, 2 touchdowns. But he only completed 55% of his passes.
Yeah.
So he was definitely pushing the ball down the field. I know a lot of people this year talked about the Brady versus Belichick, like who mattered more. And, it's kind of tough. The Patriots had a bunch of guys opt out before the season started. And Tom went to a place where he's got, granted, AB wasn't there at the start of the year, but Godwin was and Evans was. And, Gronk signed. They got Fournette. They have Ronald Jones. Like, that offense is kind of stacked. So I think what was expected out of this game happened pretty much. And then we got the cool side story of Heinicke.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think the football team gives Heinicke a shot at the starting job next year?
Might as well, right? Like, what else are you going to do? Have Alex Smith play there again? Don't get me wrong. Like, I love Alex Smith. He's good. He seems like a good dude. I feel bad for what he had to go through, right? Mm-hmm. But, he's not a game changer. If Heinicke can get through training camp and, whatever they do for preseason next year and look good, why not? I think Washington realistically is not that far away from being a good football team. They maybe some better quarterback play all year, maybe a couple more offensive weapons. They were hurt with Darius Geis being Darius Geis before the season started. Yeah, it'll be interesting. But I do think they give him a shot.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you got to give him a shot after a performance like that in the playoffs, but is he Matt Flynn or is he, or is it Gardner Minshew or is he like Tony Romo, we'll see. We'll see. Alex Smith, maybe this season was just a tribute to him, giving him that comeback player of the year award. I think he proved a lot. Just by getting out there this season. Maybe he can fall back into a supporting role. He definitely has the mind to contribute to the team.
Right. Oh yeah.
But yeah, the Bucs move on and they will take on the Saints next round. The highest projected total of the week was the Ravens versus the Titans. Of course, it was one of the lower scoring games. It was not the lowest scoring game, but with the Titans offense being so poor and Lamar Jackson on the other side, and the Titans conversely having a pretty solid passing attack, and Derrick Henry, we're expecting more points. I definitely took the over in this game, but it finishes 20-13. Baltimore controlled the game it looks like, to me, it felt like they were in control from the second quarter on. The Titans only managed 3 points in the second half, and they just couldn't get anything going. Lamar Jackson had a huge run in the second quarter. He finished with 16 carries, 136 yards. And that long touchdown, he had 179 yards through the air. 109 of it went to Marquise Brown. Good to see him show up. But on the other side, Tannehill only threw for 165 yards, and Derrick Henry 18 carries, 40 yards, not getting it done.
Yeah. You kind of covered everything. I have a couple friends that are Titans fans. Titans were up, I think, 10-3 at the time, and the Ravens were driving, and I texted them. I said, if the Ravens score here, they win the game, and that pretty much happened, right? Because you could feel it, right? Like, watching the game, you could tell the Titans came out and had a lot of energy, right? Yeah. But if you're not scoring, that energy tends to go away.
Right.
And as we'll talk about in reference to another game, I think that started very similar, although that team scored. The Titans only got 10 points, and the Ravens didn't look good, but the Ravens looked like they could move the ball, right? And then, of course, Lamar has his run to tie the game up and all that. And, after that, the Ravens still only scored 10 more points after that to the Titans 3. But, kind of what I was alluding to in my tilt is Mike Vrabel doesn't play to win football games. Mike Vrabel plays to win field position, and that's a losing move in the long run. And it cost him. I assume it cost them. He punted once when they were like in Ravens territory or whatever. And
I think it was fourth and 2 from the Ravens 40, and they punted, and they were down, and they were down 10 or something at the time, or they were down a touchdown.
And I remember,
it just was not
Sunday.
Not
it was there's a Twitter account called the Surrender Index that does they calculate how bad of a punt it was, right? Because that's the other tilt that I have is teams should go for it on fourth down pretty much every time. But they calculated that punt in that situation was 100th percentile surrender. You're just giving up, basically, right? But yeah, you made that move. What's the point of having a 2,000-yard rusher on your team if you can't get 2 yards when you need to, right? Like,
The
that's
field
my view on
position
it.
game is very high T. So,
I mean, I
for all the
I actually
Vrabel
do
supporters out
understand
there.
it. If the situation had been flipped and Tennessee were ahead by 7, I could understand it a little bit more, although I still wouldn't agree with it. But I could see, like, make them go 90-plus yards, right? But you're down 7, you need to score. No, doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you have to go for it there. Like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing?
Yeah.
What would Bill do? What would Bill do? Bill would go for that. Come on, man. You're supposed to be a disciple.
Yeah.
Anywho, Ravens move on. Rest in peace. The Titans money line. It will not have the run that it did last year. Alrighty. Next up was the afternoon game on Sunday. The Bears versus the Saints on Nickelodeon. First of all, I love the broadcast. They had the slime as a first down line marker. Even though they couldn't get it lined up, it kept moving. I don't know what the deal with that was. I would think it'd be the same technology and they just changed the colors, but they couldn't get the line right. But yeah, I mean, slime would explode out of the goal line, like corners of the end zone, obviously superimposed. And they had SpongeBob as the field goal net. So yeah, it was fun stuff. Although they tried to impress the Nickelodeon star by how high a punt went. So it was interesting. The broadcast was just, I don't know, it was kind of zany. They had a kid sideline reporter, but I was entertained. It was a nice little break.
There you go.
It got me. I think Romo covered that game, so it got me out of that. But yeah, I mean the Saints win this 21-9. Were the Bears even in it? It was. I mean, this game was not entertaining to say the least. Drew Brees did enough. Kamara got 99 yards on the ground. Michael Thomas returned. He got 73 yards in the air, but yeah, I mean, this is a very processional game. And the Saints won 21-9.
Yeah. I mean, that's all you really got to say. The Bears offense failed to show up again. So
yeah, gonna need to see more from the Saints to declare them a contender. I expect their game coming up against the Bucs to be competitive. I don't know if the Saints have enough to get it done right now. I don't know if you'd say it was the game of the week. The Bills Colts game was good. The Bucs football team game was good. Brown Steelers, I mean, right out of the freaking gate, man. Your Browns just went wild. There was the botched snap that went over Roethlisberger's head on the very first play of the game. Cleveland gets a touchdown, and then what? He threw I was going to pick up some takeout or something, so I was like in and out of the car trying to get stuff. But what, he threw a pick six, and I mean the Browns were spotted a 14-0 lead right off the start.
He didn't throw a pick six. He threw a pick, and then Landry caught a 40-yard touchdown.
Okay. So, right,
but
kill shot right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, this game got to 28-0 in the first quarter. And it was 35-10 at half. I got to be honest, I was at baseball and did not watch it. I was on my way home, and I was getting live updates from my wife, who kept texting me what was going on. And so on my way home, I think Pittsburgh was down 12 at one point in the second half and was driving. And I said, well, I'm going to go to Target. Do we need anything from there so I don't have to watch this collapse kind of thing? So I went to Target, and then obviously Cleveland ends up winning. But yeah, I've kind of gone back now and rewatched it or watched it through NFL Game Pass. But yeah, I did not watch it live because I had a prior engagement and I didn't want to catch the end of it if the Browns were to lose because I didn't want that feeling that night. But yeah, this game actually, this was the game I was referencing, talking about the Titans and the energy, right? The Browns had that same kind of energy to start, but they converted it into points, right? And when you do that, you can lose some of that energy and still win games.
Yeah, I mean, congrats to all the Browns fans out there getting their first playoff win in quite some time. They, they had the energy from the start, and it showed. And obviously, the snap over Roethlisberger's head on the first play did not help. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Juju saying the Browns is the Browns last time I checked, or something like that. Give him a bulletin board material, and the Browns, with that swagger from Baker, sans OBJ, got it done. They take down their division rivals in the wild card round, and they're the team that nobody wants to play right now. They have Baker who can make plays happen. They have Chubb and Kareem Hunt. They have a solid defense. So they have I mean, single playoff knockout. They have a chance.
Yeah.
So I mean, congrats to the Browns. Big Ben looked so dejected on the sideline. It's going to be interesting in the offseason to watch. I don't know, him and maybe he retired. Maybe this is his last game. He had 68 attempts, went over 500 yards. He had 4 touchdowns, but also 4 interceptions. Yeah. What a game! It was entertaining. But the Steelers go home. So, taking a look at the divisional round matchups, we have the Rams at the Packers Saturday afternoon. Saturday night, Ravens at the Bills. Sunday, we have the Browns at the Chiefs. And then finishing off the weekend, Bucks at Saints. I significantly prefer the Saturday games. Jeff, you got any predictions?
I'll give you what I would make the lines. Those will be my predictions. I have Chiefs Browns. That's the first one I have up here. I would make the Chiefs 6-point favorites. I have that score being like 30-24, something like that. I would have the Ravens as 1.5 favorites over the Bills, something like 28-27-ish around there. Saints Bucks, even though the Saints have won twice this year, I do have the Bucks as the better team. But it's only like half a point. And then Packers Rams, I have the Packers 6.5 point favorites. So like 28-21-ish, something like that. I mean, that's probably what I would go with. I would go with Chiefs, Ravens, Buccaneers, Packers if I had to pick money lines. But yeah. I think the Chiefs are honestly the biggest wild card in the playoffs. Because overall this year they haven't played like the best team in the league, even though they were 14-2. You just look at them like numbers wise, they've been, at least by my numbers, I have them as like in the 8th best team in the league, offense and defense, right? Ooh. But that's just based on how they've played so far. But they also are a team that is very much basketball-ish in the sense of like when games matter, they tend to show up, right? And so like I have this as a 6-point game between them and the Browns, but I am not surprised that Vegas has it as a 10-point game. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs show up and win by 14. But I could also see them losing it somehow. because they don't play very well or whatever, right? So, but I do think they're the biggest in terms of like possible like outcome. The Chiefs have the largest dispersion or whatever.
I hear you. Andy Reid off of a bye though, so we got that narrative going, and then also Kareem Hunt revenge game.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the game I'm looking forward to the most. Although the Saturday slate as a whole, I think is better. Yeah. Similar. I mean, I feel similar as regards to I think the Packers handle the Rams quite easily. I do think the Bills-Ravens game is going to be the most competitive. And, I like the Bills in that one. You said you like the Ravens. I do. I mean, I like the Chiefs. I had it at like a 5.5 spread. So, I mean, we're pretty much the same there. However, I mean, I just have similar thoughts. I could see the Browns coming out and winning. I could see the Chiefs blowing them out. If the Browns win, it'll be close. I don't think the Browns will blow out the Chiefs, but yeah. And then, I mean, I set the line at New Orleans -3 is what I thought it was going to be, and it is New Orleans -3. However, I don't see it with the Saints. I feel like the Bucs are gonna win. I think it'll be close, but I think just Tom Brady's gonna get the better of the Saints. Drew Brees, for as great of a quarterback as he is, has not fared so well in the playoffs. I mean, he does have that one Super Bowl win, but typically the Saints are often there, and they often do not make the NFC Championship game. And I just another year older, I can see that happening again. So yeah, I mean, those are our picks. I'm looking forward to more football this weekend, and yeah, we will cover how they go next week. I wanted to touch on some of the MLB trades just real quick, so we're acknowledging. The Padres acquired Blake Snell, former Cy Young winner. They traded away a catching prospect. Well, actually two. But the big names they dealt away were catcher Francisco Mejia and pitcher Luis Patino, who has some potential. Played last season, didn't do too well. The media, for the most part, saying the Padres got the upper hand on this trade. A favorable contract to acquire. Really like the potential there. They also acquired Yu Darvish from the Cubs for some prospects, and also Zach Davies, pitcher, included in that deal, who was a contributor last season. He wasn't an ace, but he certainly had some great outings. They also signed a free agent shortstop from Korea, Ha-Sung Kim. Said he joined the team because he believes they can win the World Series. So getting hype. And then the other notable acquisition was for the Mets. They acquired Francisco Lindor and Carlos Carrasco from the Indians. So our baseball coverage will increase as the time goes on. Catchers and pitchers usually report sometime in February, so expect that to be to be a topic of conversation for us moving forward. Just want to mention briefly the Padres are in extension talks with Fernando Tatis. They're talking 10, 11 years, $300 million. So hopefully they get that done. So they could just go base to all the Dodgers people who kept photoshopping Tatis in Dodgers uniforms. Get out of here with that mess. The other thing, Jeff, quickly.
Yeah.
Is the NBA going to bubble up again? Everybody has COVID.
I mean,
what is going to happen
part of me
when
thinks
these
they
guys
should,
get horny?
But the thing I heard about the NBA and bubbling again is multiple teams, not just players, but multiple full teams said they would not participate in a bubble for the full season. Because it means they have to be away from families and like all that stuff, and they didn't want to do that. They'd rather sit out. So I don't know. I think the NBA needs to really figure it out though, because we're seeing there's some issues there, right? And for a league that's trying to play pretty much every night, it's not like the NFL where you can have an issue on Monday and it gets resolved by Sunday, right? Like you have an issue on Monday, it might affect games Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, like all that, right? So they really got to get together and figure it out and, try to decide, just see what their options are,
Should they cut the line? I mean, the vaccines are out there. Do we just get all these guys vaccinated? Say, sorry, Nani. You're going to have to risk being in the ICU. Draymond needs his injection first. The millennials and Gen Zers need their entertainment. Gamblers need the DraftKings needs to make that rake.
I will say this about
Bridge
that.
on Sunday nights ain't doing it.
I don't think they should just cut the line. But if there are as many issues in like getting these vaccines to people and vaccines are possibly going to waste, throw them to these sports leagues. If you're going to have to like throw it away, just give it to the NBA, give it to the NFL, let them vaccinate these guys so that at least it gets used and doesn't get thrown away kind of thing. That's my thought on it. But I think we do need a better way to get everyone vaccinated in general. But no, I don't think they should cut the line.
Gotcha. They get that freaking B-spec immunizations. I like it. Yeah, I mean, watch this space. COVID has been a major part of our first season here, launching as a pre work from home times. Anywho, yeah, I mean we're at an hour, so that's gonna wrap it up. Thank you for listening. Don't forget, please take the survey. Jeff, I mean, take the survey yourself, bud. I'll probably, do it. I'll post it in our chat. But yeah, thank you to everybody. Let's get this thing rolling. And to everybody who got their ass kicked on Sunday, and if you're the Buckeyes, which we didn't cover, getting their asses kicked yesterday, let's get some PF Changs.
Let's do it.
All right, guys. Catch you next time.